What's up, guys? I'm Caden with Crypto Now or Never, and welcome back to another market update. If you enjoy this style of content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want.
Okay, so if we just start out by looking at coin market cap, you can see that the market has been extremely volatile recently. If you look at Bitcoin, it's currently trading at 102,000, but it had actually dropped down to 98,000. If you look at Ethereum, it's almost back to 2,300, but it had dropped under 2,200. But you can see Ethereum is still down 12.9% in the last week, so it has gotten hit pretty hard. But we've had a decent bounce, and if you come over to something like Watch a Guru, you can see that there's just a lot of bullish news. 1 hour ago, Michael Saylor's strategy buys 245 Bitcoin worth 26 million. And then they're going to raise 384 million to launch a Bitcoin treasury. And then Metaplanet buys another 111 million worth of Bitcoin. But then you scroll down a little bit further and you can see that there's still a lot going on with the war. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the war, but the reality is that it's creating a lot of uncertainty in the market. And if you look at the Bitcoin chart and you look at the Ethereum chart, you can see that we have had strong sell-offs. As you guys know, on the daily time frame for Ethereum, we were just heavily watching this bull flag. The reality is that we were still trading beneath the 200-day moving average, and we had been rejected like 7 different times off of it, so we were hoping to finally break out above it. We did have that initial strong breakout, but then we got rejected and we fell right back beneath it. But what's very interesting about this right now is if you look at the S&P, so this is the SPX chart, and SPX in my opinion looks fantastic right now. You could argue that SPX is currently forming a bull flag on the daily time frame, and we are still trading above the 21-day moving average, and we've actually retested it 2 different times. Not to mention, if you look at the stochastics, we're very oversold at this point. If I didn't know anything about the uncertainty going on in the market right now, I would say we look excellent. And you have to understand, if we see an SPX explosion, then there's a good chance that Bitcoin and Ethereum will follow. So this is something that also has me pretty bullish on crypto still. I know a lot of people are panicking, but the S&P looks good. Now, to be crystal clear, if we do end up losing the 21-day moving average and we fall out of this bull flag, then I will completely readjust and I will no longer be short-term bullish. But as we stand right now, this is a strong looking chart. And you pair this with the daily time frame for Bitcoin and the daily time frame for Ethereum, both are also extremely oversold. This tells me that there's a good chance that we could get a bounce. And not just the daily time frame, I also want to show you guys the 3-day time frame. So if you look at the 3-day, it's also getting very oversold. And Ethereum in particular currently has a strong hammer candle. You can see that there's a big wick to the downside. This shows that there's not near as much sell pressure as there once was. And especially if we can see Ethereum continue fighting and we can see it close above the 21-day, then that will be a very bullish sign. And then you come over here and you look at Bitcoin and it's in a similar situation on the 3-day, except Bitcoin actually looks even better on the 3-day. So right now you can see that it's completely fighting to stay above the 21-day. So the fact that it's even in this position currently is a good sign. However, you look at the stochastics and yet again, extremely oversold. So the daily and the 3-day stochastics are both very oversold. That is usually a very bullish sign. And oftentimes that does lead to a macro bounce. Now, the one thing that has me a little bit worried is the weekly time frame. To be clear, the weekly absolutely could drop lower. If I didn't know about the daily or the 3-day right now, I would say there's a good chance that we do come back down and retest the 21 weekly moving average. Or at least we would consolidate for a while this moving average would start to creep up. But there are no guarantees that we have to retest this level. If the 3-day or the daily decide that it's time to break out, then it's time to break out. But in general, Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty indecisive. The main thing that has me bullish right now is SPX. A stock market breakout would be huge for crypto, and we could absolutely just see a V-shaped recovery. Now, as a lot of you guys know, on my channel, the main thing that I cover is meme coins. For example, projects like Kokoro, projects like Megals, projects like Oscar. Understand, I am not personally expecting a breakout on any of these projects until we see Ethereum break out. And the main thing that I'm watching on Ethereum is the 3-day 200-day moving average and the daily 200-day moving average. You can see right here that both levels have been rejected off of many different times. We are not going to be short-term bullish until we can get back above these levels, plain and simple. But that's about it for the update today. Again, just remember there's a lot of uncertainty in the market still. Make sure you guys are willing to embrace volatility. But if you guys are interested in getting into projects super early, then I always recommend taking a look at my Discord. If you look at the all-time gainer section, we have hit some massive multipliers. And if you go through the crypto gain section, we're printing pretty much every single day. So if this is the kind of community that you'd like to be a part of, you can find the link right here on my YouTube homepage. I'd love to see you guys in here. But that's about all. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about the market. If you found this content valuable, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.